to wear the uniform. To wear the uniform is to carry a legacy.
It's a symbol of pride, of duty,
of sacrifice.
You belong to something greater than yourself. A brotherhood.
A sisterhood.
The bond forged through shared struggle, through mission, through purpose.
Every day you wake up with a sense of direction. Every task has meaning. Every action is a part of something bigger.
You're not just one. You are a part of the whole.
But when the uniform comes off, what's left?
The structure fades. The clarity vanishes.
The mission is no longer clear. The sense of belonging slips away, and in its place, uncertainty.
Overwhelmed by the choices, unsure where to go, or even who you are.
It's a feeling of being lost, of not knowing where to turn.
The weight of silence, and sometimes
the feeling of being forgotten.
The Napoleon Hill Institute presents Beyond the Uniform, creating your new chapter of purpose and service.
Well, hello everyone and welcome. Welcome to day 4. My name is Cleona O'Hara. I'm the CEO of the Napoleon Hill Institute, and I am just thrilled to be here today. And also I want to start by just thanking everyone this week. I've been checking in, watching the replays, and I'm beyond proud of where we're going and what we're creating here at the Institute, and especially I'm so proud of Erica Kelly, Frank Menard, Lefford Fate, and our military members who are part of the Institute for their service and for taking the initiative and realizing, wait a minute, we need a division for our fellow servicemen and women. Where can they go beyond the uniform? And that was the whole premise of this event. It was beyond the uniform, and then what? These men and women I am truly inspired by. I am so humbled that I get to work with them as well. I feel so blessed. And today we're going to have another incredible session. I want to introduce you to someone very special to me who's become a good friend of mine recently. And he's also going to become a very big, integral part of the Napoleon Hill Institute going forward. I will come back on at the end as well because I want to share some things with you. One of the things that I want to share with you is it's something I received in the mail, and it was from our first speaker on Monday, and that was Dr. J.B. Hill. He had sent me some copies of archives. Now, you don't want to miss this. You want to stay around till the end. This is a copy of one of the original Golden Rule magazines, the news that Napoleon Hill used to write back in the day. There's one particular page that I'm going to share with you at the end of the session. So I'm going to keep you in suspense, which means you have to stay on until the end, okay? But there's something in here that Dr. J.B. Hill had sent to me. And all week, I'm like, oh, wow. We're following and carrying out Napoleon Hill's vision. And I didn't even realize it. And so I consider myself a woman of faith. I'm a very spiritual person. I don't hide that. And I received the vision that Napoleon Hill Institute should come back, because originally it was created in the 50s with Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone, and they did incredible work for over 10 years. I received the vision that we needed to bring it back. And now with these incredible leaders and speakers, our military division, you're going to hear the vision from Erica Kelly today. Before I do that, let me introduce you to our next speaker. His name is Rhett Power. He will give you his background with the military as well, because I won't do it justice. but he is a #1 thought leader on entrepreneurship at Thinkers 360. He's also a global guru, top thought leader in startups and management. He's an executive coach. He's a professional speaker. He's also a Marshall Goldsmith 100 Best Executive Coaches in the World. He's also the best-selling author of the Entrepreneur's Book of Actions. He will give you his background as well, but I am so proud to announce that in 2025, he'll be leading the way with me and David Meltzer as our Chief Strategy Officer. Welcome, my friend Rhett. Come on up here.
Hey, Cleanna, how are you?
Wonderful.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I can scratch that off my list now. I don't need to, you said it all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for you, and I love working with you. I know we've kind of been talking behind the scenes for the Institute, but I'm just I can't wait to see what we're going to create in 2025. And
well, I think it's going to be spectacular, and you've got an amazing team, and with what you guys have built so far, I'm just thrilled to be part of it and to have the ability to come in and contribute and help do even more. So I'm excited about that.
Me too. Okay, I'll come back at the end, my friend. Take it away.
Okay. Well, today is our final day of the Beyond the Uniform, and I'm just excited to be here. As Cleanna said, I'm an executive coach. I run a company called Accountability Inc., which is an executive coaching firm and startup advisory firm. I'm a 6-time founder, Forbes and Rolling Stone contributor, author, and I'm also, our family's ethos is of service. I've spent time with USAID. I did time in Afghanistan, and although not in the service, the military, in the foreign service and serving our country is something that's been a very important part of my upbringing and my family's existence. So it's a very important value to us. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be here to talk to people who served their country. And I want to bring the panel up. And this has been an amazing week of stories about change, growth, finding new purpose, belonging, and asking and learning to ask for help in the process of all that change. And so if we can bring everybody up, that would be great. We've got Erica Kelly today. We've got Frank Menard. We've got Bobby Robles. Dr. Natasha Gordon, I think Jordan has joined us, and Leffert Fate. It is great to see all of you here. I can't wait to get into this conversation because I want to understand how your transition went from the military to the world of that we live in. And it's hard when you leave a team. I work with a lot of athletes in my practice, and when they leave professional sports, they lose that sense of team, they lose that sense of self, and they lose that sense of identity in some way. And I know the transition from the military is very difficult. Eric, I'd like to start with you. Can you talk about what the vision for the Napoleon Hill Institute is in terms of veterans, and what is this program, and talk about what it does and what the mission is for this program?
Yes, absolutely. I think that when we transition out of the military, what we are looking at is a place that we belong, a place where we can call home, a group of people that we can say they're my family. So for us in the military division for the Napoleon Hill Institute, what we want to do is be extremely dedicated to showcasing to those veterans, to those families, and to also the serving members that are looking at a date to transition, a place where they can have a brighter future. So we want to inspire military personnel, veterans, achieve their highest potential. Sometimes because we are in the military, we think what's next, but there's a little bit of doubt, a little bit of hesitation. Not here, not with us here at the Napoleon Hill. What we want is for people to understand that they can achieve a higher potential through personal growth, through leadership training, and have a commitment through the Napoleon Hill principles, where leadership does not have a finish line. It's not a, how long can I do this? No, every day is a better day than yesterday. So leadership, self-growth does not have a finish line.
Thank you. And Lefford, I've got to ask you. I loved your session yesterday, and I think you're the perfect person to answer this question. I was listening to Dr. Hill on Monday talk about a definite major purpose. How do you find that when you come out of the military and you really do have to rethink your next mission in life, right? How do you find that? And what process did you go through? And I know you help people find this now. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, thank you, Red. I appreciate that question, and I appreciate being here. Primarily is figuring out what it is that you want. Not necessarily what your friend want, what your parents want, what your family, what you want as a person, right? Because it's in my favorite book, it talks about love thy neighbor as thyself. But if you don't love yourself, if you don't know yourself, if you don't know what you want, it's very difficult to achieve that. So a definite major purpose is to start first with what is it that you really want. And I read this and I heard this many years ago. It talked about what would you do if you knew you could not fail? And I like to put a little tweak on that, Red. I like to say, what would you do even if you failed that would be worth going for? Right? That thing.
I love that.
That thing. And then say, okay, that is what I want. And then once you figure that out, you flesh that out, then you go into that, what am I willing to give to get that? Not to sacrifice to get that. What am I willing to give and to work for to get that thing? And then once you can pull those two things together, then you can say, I am going to put it all on the line to go get that. Right? Because if you've served in the military, you are familiar with following orders. You are very familiar with that process. And so when you figure out your definite purpose, I know what I want, and I've decided that I'm going to do this to get there, and I'm going to give myself an order that I will finish this race or die trying. And because we're all of service, right? You put your family, your friends, the nation, something bigger than yourself. But first we start here and then we expand out. So that to me is how I've done it. And again, it's been fits and starts. It wasn't like, oh, I've decided one day that this was going to be, but I've been failing forward for years in this process. And as Erica often says, now that you find yourself in a place where you've done these things, then you reach back to the people that are coming behind you so they don't have to make the same mistakes. They can make better mistakes at a higher level because of where we have gone and what we have done. So that's what I would say to that, Rhett. Thank you for that great question.
Well, it's to me as a coach, I don't know why I'm surprised by this all the time. How many people fail to ask themselves that basic question, right? That question of what is it you want?
Yeah.
And then the follow-up question to that is, what else do you want? Like what, to keep asking that question, even when you fail at something. And it's a question you should be asking yourself pretty often. Does anybody else have some suggestions?
And I know Eric is going to slap me around, but you ask why we don't. It's always been a little negative thing to ask what you want, or to take care of yourself, right? We always joke about when you get on an airplane, they say, in case of loss of cabin pressure, put your neighbor's mask on first. I never heard that briefing. It was like, put yours on first. But in real life, when you start talking about you and what you want, people side eye you. And that's a very uncomfortable place. So sorry about that.
No. That's a great point. Anyone else want to jump in?
I would like to add something that yesterday, Lefford and I talked about programming and how hard it is for us to say, what is it? When we are asked, what do you want? I don't know. When we ask that, what do I want? I don't know. And I again, it's something that is in us as military members. But this is what the core values of some of the branches we all share: loyalty, loyalty to somebody else, duty, respect, selfless service, personal courage. So when we're looking at that, when we're looking at putting ourselves, and I'm one to preach that sometimes we have to put ourselves second, but when that is all that we know, service before self, mission always first. My goodness, how hard, because it is hard, to mold that, to still keep it because it's part of us, but mold it to it can continue to serve us so we can become better people.
Yes. I would like to add something to that, Red, if I could.
Sure, Bob.
Like,
Go ahead.
for us in the military, like, we have to be tough.
Yep.
We have to be like, everybody else needs to be better than us. Like, we are serving them, so we are here to make sure that they're happy. And that's when we get out. That's how I felt. I was walking through Walmart, and I took my uniform like that week off. And the day I took my uniform off, I can tell you, literally, my heart, it was hurting. Like, I took part of me off, and I knew I was not gonna put it on again until my deathbed. But from there, I'm walking through Walmart, and somebody goes like, "Thank you for your service," and I'm like, I'm not serving anymore, and that hurt. Like, I just realized that what I loved to do through my whole life, it was gone, and right there I knew I needed to find my definite purpose. And my definite purpose, I went looking for it, and was like, what makes me happy? What makes me happy? And it was that, like, serving. And I remember my old Special Forces motto, which was to free the oppressed. And I'm like, well, who is oppressed right now? And I started looking around. I saw a lot of people oppressed. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. And I found my major purpose, and that's what I'm doing. And special operations, we don't know how to fail. If we fail, we die. So go all out and have that mission. Go take that hill. Go all in.
Well, Bobby, that's a good segue, because the follow-up question to that is, and you sort of brought it up, right? It's courage, but it's also, the brain is wired to operate on fear, right? And how did you guys deal with the fear of leaving the service? And was there fear?
So Ray, I'd like to chime in on that. I'm being reminded of the process that we all go through when we enter into a new environment. So when I left the military in 1996, I was leaving the environment that I had invested my life in for over 22 years. I entered a new environment, which I thought I knew, but I didn't, because I'd been away from that civilian environment for so long. The first stage is survival. What do I need to do to survive this new environment that I'm in, which I thought I knew, but it's totally different. It's not a bad difference, not a good difference, just different. And so my first reaction was to the question, what do you want? Was I had made a promise to my 8-year-old and 10-year-old children to put them through college if they got there. So my first want was to be able to fulfill that promise. And so I found a way to become employed using my talents and skills to earn the income that I was going to need to be able to achieve that goal. Mm-hmm. And that brought me to a position of stability. I was stable. I went from survivals to stability. I'm making it. I'm in this environment. I'm not doing the best I can, but I'm doing the best I can to do the best I can.
Right.
And then eventually I hit a level of success, which meant I was earning an income that could provide me for all the needs I needed and to take care of that promise. And I'm proud to say that success enabled me to put my kids through college debt free. And then you enter a different level of what we call significance. And this is where Lefford was alluding to with comments from Erica. We get to give back. And so all of us go through that process in one way, shape, or form. And we just have to understand that time and experience will bring us through that. Right. But there's also an opportunity to ask for help and for guidance. And if I'm looking at what NHI provides to all of us to help us go through that process, is it's a philosophy. It's a blueprint and a guide to get us through those 4 levels to the point where we did it. You can do it too. Here, take my hand. Let me show you how to do it.
Right. And with the skill sets that you learned in the military, right, which actually serve you really well outside, with that discipline and the structure, those are all skill sets that are very important in the outside.
Unbelievable the amount of skill sets that every veteran walks out of service with, but they don't recognize it. We have self-discipline, persistence, tenacity. You know, we've got loyalty. We have the ability to, we don't call it a goal, we call it a mission. So if you look at it from that same perspective, walk out into that new uniform, the clothes that we now wear, this is a new uniform. What's my mission moving forward?
It's a competitive advantage. I mean, it's a competitive advantage.
I think so. I think so, because we've experienced so much. Even if you're a 22 or a 23-year-old veteran coming out of service, you are so far ahead of that same individual at the same age who never experienced what we experienced. Yeah. Because at a young age, you took on responsibility, you were put in leadership positions, you had to make plans, you had to make decisions, and you made it. And that's what we need to lean into when we come out of service.
Yeah. Dr. Natasha Jordan, I've got to bring you into this conversation. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so to build onto that, I'm really glad you brought in the psychological perspective and to build on, you know, all the things that are said here. When I left the military, there was one thing that was very interesting. When I passed over my active duty military card to receive what I don't like to call my dependent ID, when I received that, in that moment, I was treated very differently just a few seconds ago when I had that active duty card. And so I would even say, I think what we're alluding on here to was that my identity was shaken a bit. My uniform tells you who I am. My uniform says what the respect that I'm owed. When I walk into a room, I don't say much, but I just command the room based on what I'm. But when you take off that uniform, to the point that the gentleman was saying, we should be proud about this new uniform that we're wearing, but it is a bit of an adjustment. And so it actually did a little bit of the opposite for me. It drove me with my dissertation to understand, why is it that when we do get out of the military, we deal with this psychological piece? Like I can deal with PTSD inside the military. I can deal with that because I'm in that system. But once you take me out of that system, what do we start to see across our service members, which is, you know, increase in suicide rates, increase in more mental health issues, a lot of homelessness, a lot of those different things, even with highly decorated service members. And a lot of it boils down to, we have the social capital, right? The things that we have access to, the interpersonal relationships, the networking, the jobs, they set us up really nicely in TAPS. We also have the human capital, our experience, our knowledge, our expertise, things that, you know, again, no one else can do at our level or age in the civilian world. But there was one thing that was missing that my dissertation was the first to uncover, and it was the psychological capital that I think NHI offers an amazing opportunity. And it's what I call HERO. It's hope, efficacy, resilience, and optimism. And I think that's what everyone here is describing. These are the 4 psychological pieces that we needed in order to have a successful transition. You have hope, which is, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm just looking forward to what's going to happen. Efficacy, not just about, I believe that I can do it, but with the skills, with the network, with all the things I have, how can I pull this together to get me to where I'm going? You have resilience, not just bouncing back, but being able to look at an opportunity and say, or a challenge and say, okay, what are the other opportunities here, and who can I talk to help me get through that? And then optimism, not just thinking positively, but truly thinking realistically about my situation and being able to use all of those other resources, again, to help me get to where I'm trying to go. So I think that NHI offers an amazing opportunity, not only for the social aspect, not only for the human aspect, but also just that internal identity aspect, really helping us to tap into our psyche, which is one of the most powerful things, having that mindset to really help us make this transition, because it is a very tough space to be in, and makes the difference between, am I going to have a successful transition and be mentally resilient to deal with this transition, or will I struggle a little bit and possibly need to get access to additional resources? But yeah, that's my perspective there. I really love how you brought this up.
I love how you frame that, and I wonder, do people realize these things when they're getting ready to get out? I mean, because I'm sure it's a whirlwind before you get out. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of change happening. When does it really hit people? When did it hit you guys?
Well, I think that transition is very individual.
Okay.
Just like the reasons why we went into the military can be very individual. The reality of transitioning out is also an individual journey that has a lot of connecting points with everything that the doctor just mentioned and everybody else talked about. But one thing that I think we haven't talked about this 4 days is those individuals that still want to serve, right? Still want to serve, but for whatever reason, most of the time is medical, they can't anymore. So that transition, I knew when my date was coming. It was my choice to work till the last day and not get prepared. I get that. But what about the individual that is looking at a whole future in the military and gets cut short? That's a different transition.
Right.
And with that mindset, then that's where the Napoleon Hill comes in, of having a place where you belong, having a place where you can transition with individuals that can help you.
Yeah. And Frank, you were telling me before we came on that you had talked to some people who just got out, and I'm curious what they said their needs were.
Yeah. Thank you, Ray. Yeah, it was really interesting. I thought about this morning as I was preparing, and I said, well, let me send a message to Joshua. And Joshua is a young man who I met at my local favorite coffee shop, Marine Corps emblem tattooed on his shoulder. So we immediately hit it off with Semper Fi and all that good stuff. And he mentioned something the last time I saw him about a week and a half ago. He said, I've learned how to deal with my traumatic brain injury. I've learned how to deal with my PTS, but I need to find a purpose. And so I reached out to Joshua this morning and I asked him, what was the biggest pain point for you coming out of service? And I'm reading from his text message that he sent me. He said, leaving the military and transitioning into the civilian workforce without guidance and being able to adapt to civilian style work environments. Also learning to live with PTSD. And the second question I asked was, what was the biggest challenge? What's been the biggest challenge since you transitioned? He said, returning to civilian life was figuring out what was wrong with me. Being diagnosed with PTSD was such a low blow for me. I thought I was being labeled as weak. Fighting the addiction that came with it was another problem in and of its own. So I just got chills reading that. So from my perspective, I retired almost 28 years ago. And my perspective of transition is way different than Joshua's perspective and any other veteran who's experienced Iraq and Afghanistan and all the things that have come in between my leaving service and today. And so just reading those words from a gentleman who opened up, I don't even really know Joshua except for that meeting by chance, maybe once a week in the coffee shop, to let me know, hey, these are the things I'm dealing with. And from a coach's perspective, it gives me an education as to where our conversations need to go with each and every veteran that we happen to meet. I was taught a long time ago, when I ask a veteran, how you doing, I get the pat response. We're all very stoic. All's good, Semper Fi, whatever that is. But at the end of the day, we need to ask that question one more time. No, really, how are things going?
Yeah.
Now they might let you know.
Dr. Jordan, I've got to ask you, how do you break through and get them to ask for help? I mean, how can we as coaches in the Napoleon Hill Institute, how can we help people ask for that help and break through that wall that's there?
I think we all know on this call, we love to talk. Veterans love to talk about the service, about their service, the other service. They love to talk. I think it truly is sitting down. I was in Hawaii for 6 years. And one thing about the Hawaiians, they love to talk story. And so I think it truly is just sitting down, not being ready with questions, but being ready to listen. What do you want to talk about? Tell me about your experience. Tell me. And then along that journey, as we all know, once they give that background and give that story, we start to see, oh, there's a way in. Would you like to dive into that a little bit more? I heard something that was interesting to me, but we just want to, I think all of us on this call can agree, we just want to be heard, especially when you're going through a transition, especially as you're describing, this young man who's getting out and dealing with that. That's becoming more and more prevalent. We just want to be heard. Just hear me. And then I'll let you in.
Yeah. Well, Lefford, I've got to ask you and Bobby, you both have had life-changing experiences with the Institute, with Napoleon Hill Institute. So I'll start with you first, Lefford. I mean, I know you're coaching people now. You're working with veterans. You're working with as a Napoleon Hill coach. Talk about that experience and how you have a sense of service because of that now, and a sense of purpose.
Well, two things. I think I've always had a sense of purpose. Identifying the purpose but there was a sense of purpose. But one of the things that I'm finding interesting for me is that everybody's got a different story and a need and a desire. Sometimes I'm in a room with people and folks are saying, so how can I help you? How can I serve you? And there are a lot of veterans that, no, I don't need help. I don't need service. I want to serve and I want to give. I don't want to, I've noticed that people don't want to be put in a bucket to say, well, I got PTSD because I was in the service. Some people came out of service millionaires and having their best life, and they want to go and they want to give some of that. Some people want to talk to different people. Some people want to listen to other people. That even though we're very similar, we're not the same. A lot of things in what I'm learning is that, wow, as Dr. Jones said, everybody has a story. They want to hear somebody's story and they want to share their story. And so in this, doing what I get to do is I get to listen and I get to learn, and then I get to lead in this process. And that has been huge because I'm a Christian. I'm a believer, and my desire is to be a useful servant. And so this work that I get to do allows me to continue to be a useful servant. I think most veterans, and again, I just said don't put people in a bucket, but I'll put people, most of us want to be useful and to continue to serve in some type of capacity. And I think one of the hardest things, and I'm good, open kimono, I'm gonna be perfectly frank. One of my hardest things was not feeling useful, not having something to give back, and nobody wants it. Or if you try to give, because I will tell you, it's happened to me. Well, what's your angle? Why are you helping? Why are you trying to help? Why are you trying to serve? What are you trying to do? I really want to serve. And when you're trying to serve and people are looking at you like you're trying to get something out of it other than service, it's painful. And maybe I don't fit. And so what I've found in this community is there are people that are ahead of me, there are people behind me, there are people alongside me, and I get to serve in all those capacities and also be served. So in order for a person to be considered useful and to continue to serve, there's a place that they can be and feel comfortable with that. I think that's beautiful. And I think that's what I get to do here. And there's a statement that the The workers are few, but the needs are many. This environment is a place where there's a lot to be done, a lot to be done. And they're here to say, we will let you help us. You can be a useful servant here, Lefford Fate. And that makes me extremely happy.
I love that. Thank you. Bobby, you were talking about before we came on, and we had a chance to meet down in Virginia a couple weeks ago, and I had a great conversation with you. And your energy, I loved your energy about how this has really started to transform your life as you've come out of the military. Can you talk about that a little bit, being part of the Napoleon Hill Institute?
Yes. When we come out of the military, like we were talking about being servants. Well, like and I realized this in the Napoleon Hill Institute. I was being coached that my service was not only to the American people, but was to my commanders. It's like what my commander wants, and I will do that mission to the best of my abilities. But it was never what I wanted, what I needed. Not even what my wife and family wanted or needed. It was always what the Army and my commanders wanted. But finding what I wanted started showing and opened my eyes to opportunities that I have never seen in my life. Like I always been a sniper, been with the ghillie suit on the mud and all the cool pictures. When I was like, how am I going to get a job dressed with the ghillie suit? Kind of like that. But here in the,
Probably not.
probably, well, I get Blackwater or something like that. But here in Napoleon Hill Institute, showing me that I am more than just that one Joe that was in the mud, and that I can become somebody better just by following these principles. And not only that, how much these principles correlate with the military decision-making process. When I saw that, I was like, poof, my head blew up, because we've been doing this. This is how military missions get accomplished.
Right.
But we do not give ourselves our orders. We let somebody else give us orders. And when we give ourselves orders, we're like, well, I can't really slip 15 more minutes because I'm my own boss. So why do I need to wake up and do PT? And here, they show me that. They show me that so much that I'm calling my Special Forces buddy, and Cleon knows it. Some of them are coming in because I'm like, dude, you guys are missing out. Like, this is how we were supposed to live, and I've been missing out, and now I'm learning. So thank you. Thank you to the whole Napoleon Hill Institute and to everybody. Thank you so much. After 6 tours in Afghanistan, I thought I was going to retire and play PlayStation. That's what I wanted to do. I just play PlayStation. And I sat there to play PlayStation for 30 days, and it was the worst experience of my life. I don't want to do that again. So I'm glad that I found my purpose. I'm glad that Napoleon Hill is teaching me how to see all these, identify these opportunities, and everything has resonated deeply with my military experience and with my soul. And I'm so much happier now. You can see on my face, I'm so much happier now, Red, than when you met me 3 weeks ago.
I find that hard to believe that you're happier, because you're pretty daggum happy. Tell me real quick though, what is your purpose now?
So I am a developer, and my purpose is to help the homeless to get into homes, especially homeless veterans or any homeless. Is my income and my mission is to use all my resources to lower the cost of the housing for these homeless, or even get them in. So that's what I'm doing, and that's what when I say like, what is my purpose? I'm like, well, Special Forces said to free the oppressed. So who's oppressed? The homeless. That's what I'm doing now.
Well, I think that's a pretty daggum good mission, and I'm glad you're not playing PlayStation anymore, and you're focused on something really important. Anybody else want to contribute to that question? And
I wanted to share something on the fear factor.
Sure. Go ahead.
Airborne school. When I went to airborne school, the first jump out of an aircraft, I thought that on my backpack that there was not a parachute, that when I was going to open, there was going to be like a big block of iron or something like on the cartoons or something else. And I was so scared when the jump master said stand by. But when he said go, I was scared for like half a second. The rest of that trip was the best time of my life. and I almost didn't take that first jump because I was afraid. But after that, all I heard was the wind, and I just let go, and everything was gorgeous. And I think that helped me with my fear. It's like if I can't jump out of an aircraft and be fine, or go be anything else will be fun too.
Well, I like how you've jumped into this mission, and because it is a big problem, and I love the courage that you're displaying in jumping into solving a massive problem. And you know that you're going to have support of everybody here to do that. So really, really thank you for sharing that. Does anybody else want to jump in on that question about how the Institute is really impacted your life?
Sure. Red, go ahead, Erica. I apologize.
Go ahead, Erica.
Thank you, Frank. Just very quickly, the Institute is allowing me to see different opportunities and a different future for myself. And very quickly, like the doctor says, I like telling stories too. So I served for 32 and a half years. And in those 32 and a half years, my two sons were born, and I was a single mom. And when I'm looking at my transition, I'm looking at this is what I want. I want to come home. I want to be a mom. I want to reconnect. And what happens is I am out of the uniform now, and I'm with my sons, and I'm not connecting. The same thing that happened every time I came back from a deployment was that the feeling of wanting to be over there, the feeling to be with the guys or with the gals, but most of the time I was with the guys because I was either assigned to the Army or assigned to the Marines. It was a nightmare of, I finally got what I want. I'm here with my sons. I'm home. And I'm so disconnected. I am so disconnected. You know what's winning? The monster that I have inside my chest, because that's the only way I can describe it. The monster that I have inside my chest that's trying to explode inside of me and break my ribs from the inside out.
Wow. Wow.
So ask for help.
Yeah.
Ask for help is what the Napoleon Hill Institute is helping me with, because we really don't ask for help.
And Frank,
but I'm here openly telling people that I needed to ask for help to get better. And I need presently the Napoleon Hill Institute, because there's like-minded people that can help me move forward.
Yeah. Frank, you were gonna jump in.
Yeah, thank you, Rhett. So just kind of parlaying some of what Bobby said. You know, we all want to serve at the level that we're at right now. We want to find a way to have the biggest impact that we can have, for me personally, for the rest of my life. I read Think and Grow Rich first time in 1977. I probably read it 40 or 50 times over the years before I became aware of the Napoleon Hill Institute. And for some reason, I don't even remember how I became aware of it. For some reason, it drew me to listen. And so I did. So for the first year, I watched and I listened to what was going on from the resources I had within NHI. And then March of this year, 2024, I made a step. So that's about 9 months ago. And I made a step to take part in an organization that gave me an opportunity, resources, immense resources, education, family, camaraderie, to serve my purpose, which is to serve others. So the impact that NHI has had on me in just a short 9 months is it's given me a vision, not only a vision for what I can do, but for what we can do as an organization to impact the world. I've learned so much about Napoleon Hill, W. Clement Stone, and all these other folks that J.B. Hill, Dr. J.B. Hill, It's a brother Marine. We're related. He's part of my family. And to have that connection at that level in such close proximity to the man who started the personal development industry in reality, it's immensely powerful. And I'll share with you, initially, 9 months ago, people in my community were starting to think I was nuts because everything became all about the 13 principles, the 17 keys, this book and that book. But you know what? They're listening now. And more opportunities are opening up because we have a mission. NHI has a mission. Cleona has stated it clearly, to impact the lives of 8 billion people, the population of the earth. I think that's fantastic.
Hey, Red, you see what Frank just did, right?
I do.
You got like, well, Dr. J.B. Hill's grandfather was a Marine. It was like, whatever. You know what?
I mean, he had to slide it in there. I mean,
it was like, okay, so what? No, I'm just like,
and we still have the best uniform. We still have the best uniform, Lefford. Okay, right.
I'll give you that. You are cute, right?
But they have Space Force now. I mean, come on. I mean, who doesn't want the Star Trek symbol on the?
I can't even do that.
Dr. Jordan, I've got to ask you, and I want to sort of follow up with something that Erica said about asking for help. From your perspective, the question's not about asking for help, but it's actually taking the help, and it's being coachable, because that's a really hard to become coachable and truly listen and absorb the feedback that you get when you get coached. How do we get in that space how do we get in the right headspace, do you think, to be more coachable so that we can grow and we can thrive?
I mean, that's the age-old question, right? For all of us coaches, like that's the question. But I think again, I'm just going to go back. I'm just going to restate what we're all stating here. Transformation is powerful. Frank, I think you were saying it like before, everybody thinking you're nuts, and now people are leaning in because of a life change. And I think the more lives that we can show are being transformed by the work that's being done here, the more people want to lean in. Okay, what's going on? What's going on here? I'm a woman of faith as well. And that's, no one's out here trying to throw something at you and trying to make you. I think where we might mess up is thinking that I'm going to make you coachable if you just do this thing, if you just follow this model. And that's not what it's about. The thing that touched us, one of the reasons probably why we all entered the military, was because we saw someone's life transformed by what the military did for them. It's like, I want a piece of that. I need to do that. We then start to see our need by those closest to us, those that we love. And so I think it's just the lives transformed. And the more we can tell folks about those lives transformed, the more we can even share our own transformation stories, not being shy about that. But the more we can open up and share that, people are going to want to know more. It's like, maybe I do need something. And then we know as coaches, once they get in the room with us and we start to ask them questions, we start to open them up in their own assumptions. Then they even start to see, oh, wait a minute. I thought nothing was wrong with me, but maybe there is. I might come back for the second session. I don't know. We'll see.
Anybody else want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I do. It's not so much of being coachable, because I think if you're in the military, you're coachable. Mm-hmm. You've been on teams. It's trusting the people that you're around. From 92, I became a part of the behavioral health, mental health. I was the career field functional for Air Force Special Operations Command for mental health. And one of the biggest things that we saw when the combat people, the cops, those people went to talk to the doctors, was like, I'm not giving you anything because I don't know I can trust you. So I can be coached, but can I trust you with my stuff? And as a new coach or an old coach, if you expect me to give you everything in the first hour that I know you, you're lost. I need to feel trusted. Do you care about me? Can I trust you? Can you help me? Questions that are dancing around in my head. So how do you become trustworthy? What is an environment that I can come and I can be myself? I can show you my wounds and you're not gonna judge me. Because I remember when I got out of the military, I worked at a hospital, and then I ran healthcare for the South Carolina Department of Corrections. And because I wasn't a career prison person, they did not trust me and they saw me as an outsider. And the more I tried to push myself to be a part of it, the more I was held off. But as soon as I shut up and listened and just became a part and just got very curious about stuff, then I started to be accepted, and then people would come to me. So coachable is a good thing, but being trustworthy and trustable, that is a thing that is very helpful. So for anybody that's looking to come into an organization like this or to open an organization up, excuse me for that, is to be a place where I can go to and feel comfortable to share my stuff. Because I got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
And those are the things that help us. So again, hope that was helpful, because that was a huge thing for me when I came into my community. I had people that wanted me here and that they helped me trust them. And when I trusted them, I would give my life for them.
Well, thank you, Lefford. We've got about 2 or 3 minutes before we bring Cleona back on. So this is going to be a rapid fire quick question. I want you to speak to the audience and just say why they should come and be part of this. And whatever it is you want to say, sort of your final take here, your final last word. And let's start with Dr. Jordan, and then Lefford, and then Bobby, Frank, and then we'll end with Erica.
I would say immediately, if you have questions about just your identity during this transitory period, if you are curious about who you can become or why you even are the way that you are, I think this is the perfect place to come and test out what that is, but also discover who you are.
Love that. Thank you.
There's a place for you here.
I will say, you just said it. It's all about trust, and us military guys, we don't trust very easily. It has to be legit. It has to be sincere, and I truly believe that here at the Napoleon Hill, they are legit and sincere, and they care. That they care for success. That it's not just, hey, give me your credit card, I'm gonna give you 4 calls. It's like, all right, as long as it takes, I'm going to help you become successful. And I, as a special forces, I was blessed to get trained for some of the best people in the world in operations. And I got spoiled like that. When I wanted to go get the training, I wanted to get it from the best. So I came to the best. I came to the only place that is authorized to use that name, Napoleon Hill. I didn't want to go to another one. I wanted to go to the roots, and that's why I'm here. And it has helped me so much. It truly has.
Thank you. Thank you, Bobby.
Nothing happens unless we take action. And you're now looking at 5 veterans who have taken action. So if you want to trust in the brothers and sisters that you see in front of you.
Thank you, Frank.
And for me is a question. Are you willing to bet on yourself? And if the answer is yes, and if the answer is also, I am worth it, because you are worth it, this is a place for you.
Thank you, Eric. I can't think of a better way to wrap that up. And if you've missed sessions this week, you can find those. You can go in and register and watch the past sessions from the week. Thank you for being here. Cleona, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Wow. I am, I'm just humbled. I'm a little bit speechless right now. because I can feel the heart of every single one of you, and everything you've said, it's coming from your heart, and it's also from a heart of service. That's why I'm part of this. And I'm so grateful to each and every one of you. Thank you for this whole week. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for caring about your fellow servicemen and women. And I will do whatever I can to help support this mission as well, because this is a new mission beyond the uniform, right? And that's, I've learned a lot from all of you this week and today. The biggest message that I'm taking away, and the realization that I have, and you mentioned it as well, Natasha, it all goes back to identity. It all goes back to, what is my identity beyond the uniform? Once you guys had that uniform on, you knew who you were. It's so interesting. I'm not a vet, obviously, but here's something maybe you didn't know. I was married to a Navy 06. I was married to a he became retired. And so I saw the struggles, and I saw how it impacted the family. And he didn't have any transition support resources that we've all talked about this week. It affected our entire family, including me. So I am a family member of a retired Navy 06 captain. So I do know a little bit about it as well. Okay. But what I am is I'm a servant, just like you all shared. You're all here because you have a servant's heart. And I do also always say how spiritual I am. I'm very connected in my faith. And when I went on this mission to reignite the Napoleon Hill Institute, I had a clear vision to go serve. And I would pray. I would do my own private prayer and say, God, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. For those that know my story. And the message was very clear. Cleona, go serve. Cleona, go serve. And this is my way of serving, is just bringing back the Napoleon Hill Institute. It's just moving through me. It's not because of me. It's because of us. So as we lock arms together, we can get out there and we can help these people that need help. They need a new identity beyond the uniform. The one thing that I've learned in personal development, working with Bob Proctor for many years, animals, birds, creatures, they all operate from instinct. They operate from instinct. The birds know to fly south in the winter. It's all instinctual. We humans, we don't operate that way. We're lost in our environment. Humans are lost in our environment if we don't have an identity, we don't have a purpose, and we don't have goals, our definite chief aim. We become lost. And then what happens, just like Napoleon taught us, we become drifters. We drift. We lose our confidence. We get into all sorts of shenanigans. And this is what's happening, right? That's why over 90% of the population is drifting. But if you were to ask me who are our favorite clients, I'm going to be biased, at the Napoleon Hill Institute, my favorite clients are the military folks. It's true, because you guys have an advantage. You're disciplined. You want a mission. You want purpose. You thrive. You know you're here for more. You're here to serve. You actually know that's why you're here. So I'm so passionate, as you can feel, about where we're going with this division, with Erica's lead. I'll do whatever it takes. So I want to thank all of you from my heart for your contribution. May this be the beginning of many, many more events that we do like this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I want to share a couple of things. I know we're running out of time. Rhett, is there anything else you need to share before I go into this?
No, and I think you're going to probably reiterate this, but if this resonated with you, please get in touch with us, get in touch with the community, and get, find out how you can be involved, because I do think, I think we saw it today. This can really give you that sense of purpose and mission that we talked about, and that when you get out, you feel that loss. So I know you're going to wrap that up nicely and tell people where to go. So I'll get out of your hair And thank you so much for the opportunity to be with this group today.
Wow. Thank you, Rhett. Thank you to all of you. So I know we're over time, so I'm going to go as quick as possible. I promised you something, and I'm going to read from the Golden Rule magazine. This one is September 1946. September 1946. Dr. J.B. Hill, I love you. Thank you for sending it to me. He told me to read this on page 8. So this was Napoleon Hill's vision. Number 1, to create a school for teachers. It should be established where men and women can study and train and become qualified teachers and counselors, aka coaches. Number 2, these teachers/coaches should conduct primary classes where possible to carry the philosophy of success all over the world. We're doing that today. We have classes every single day here at the Napoleon Hill Institute. We have an average of 3 live classes per day. Number 3, the Golden Rule magazine must be revived as a national magazine, and I believe somebody's working on that right now. Number 4, create radio courses. Well, now it's not just the radio, as we know, it's the internet. Back then, they didn't have the internet. So create online courses, radio courses to be set up to carry the philosophy into the homes of America. The radio can interest new students, and they will become available to become teachers, coaches. Number 5, a student help fund should be set up so that capable men and women of sound character could have the funds available when they decide to become coaches and teachers of this philosophy. We just created a scholarship fund, and we created a scholarship division here where those that want to study with us and they can't afford it, those that want to become teachers and coaches and have a new identity with us, they will have a scholarship opportunity as well. Number 6, the perpetuation of Napoleon Hill clubs on a national scale should be assured. Our coaches are doing that right now. They're creating mastermind groups, Think and Grow Rich book study clubs all over the world. Our coaches are doing that. Number 7, somewhere there should be set up a national retreat where there will be in-person lectures and refresher courses. We had our yearly gala in New York City in Andrew Carnegie's mansion in 2023. And then we had another event in New York as well. And we will continue to do that. We're going to be doing more retreats, more in-person experiences to bring all of our community together and our coaches together and our leaders together. Number 8, each year, the Napoleon Hill Foundation will award to young businessmen or young businesswoman an annual individual achievement award. That is happening now with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. It was set up before Napoleon Hill passed away with W. Clement Stone and Napoleon. The Napoleon Hill Foundation, we contribute 10% or so to the foundation. Everything that we do here, a majority and a percentage goes to help also provide scholarships for young people's education. The foundation gives all of their money and what they create to the children for scholarships, for education. It's already happening. So when I got this in the mail, I had never seen this before. I promise you, I didn't know this vision, and we are automatically doing it. So I know we're on the right path. I know we're on the right path with the way everything is unfolding here at the Institute. And we're not even 2 years old, friends. This version of the Institute, we're not even 2 years old. In 2025, we have an incredible opportunity for you. So what I want to do is invite you. I'm going to put on the screen right now. It's a barcode. You scan the barcode. I want you to book a call. I want to invite you, as you met the amazing Frank Menard here this week. He came into the Institute through what's called the Think and Grow Rich Mentorship Program. This is a 9-month mentorship program, live classes every day. You are going to embody the principles of Think and Grow Rich, the philosophy. The first 6 weeks is called the disruptor phase. This is the hardest phase, but for you military folks, it probably won't be that difficult. It includes the self-discipline camp. This is where you meet with us every morning at 5:30 in the morning. Yes, Monday through Friday in almost every time zone. So at 5:30 in the morning, we get together, we write out our goals, our definite chief aim. We do a little bit of meditation. We study together. We write out our gratitude list. Then we go about our day. You start your day early. You create that self-discipline and self-confidence as you start to create this new self-identity for yourself. So we meet 5 days a week. That's the self-discipline camp. So the first 6 weeks of this program is you building up your discipline and your confidence again. Then you start to get clear of, people say, well, I don't know what I want. Once you start to have discipline, once you start to have confidence, then the ideas start coming to you of, oh, this is what I really want to do. After you move out of the disruptor phase of this program, this mentorship program, then you're going to move on and study with us for the rest. It's 9 months in total. You're going to learn every single principle of Think and Grow Rich, not just study it. You're going to learn how to live it, be it, embody every principle. I came from Northern Ireland. I came from dysfunction. I do not have a college degree, my friends, but I lived, these principles have completely changed my life. How did I even get here? I've been applying these principles by Napoleon Hill for over 17 years, and here I am. I give all thanks to his material, and I applied it. So in this program, you will also get assigned a coach. So you're not alone on your journey. You'll meet with your coach on a regular basis. You'll have private calls with them. You'll join our group classes, and you'll join our daily study. So I want to invite you, go ahead and book a call. You can click on this link here or scan it. And if you're completely lost, just go to the NapoleonHillInstitute.com, and you will you'll see a way there to contact us as well. Okay, I invite you all. And then once you come in, the representative who speaks to you, the success advisor, they'll tell you if it's a right fit or not. That's the truth. We're here to help you. If it's not the right fit, they'll find something for you. Maybe you're meant to be a coach. Maybe you're meant to teach these principles and help others, but we will help you discover what's the right fit for you as well. All right, my friends, I am so grateful for this opportunity. I look forward to seeing you on the other side in one of our calls. Go ahead and book your call now. Tell your friends about it. Watch the replays. Invite as many people as possible to this opportunity. And even if you cannot afford it, my friends, we have scholarships. And I also have a list of coaches that are willing to volunteer over Christmas to help you if you really need help. So you just get in touch with us. If you need to send an email, you're completely lost, just send an email to hello@NapoleonHillInstitute.com. I look forward to working with you. We will help you create your purpose, your vision, and your goals, and create the new identity beyond the uniform. Thank you for all your service, and thank you for the opportunity to serve you this week. I'll see you on the other side.
Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. The Napoleon Hill Institute introduces Think and Grow Rich, the mentorship program. Still waiting for the perfect moment to change your life? Here's a secret. That moment is now. Imagine the future you've dreamed of. Not next year, not someday, now. Inspired by Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, we're launching a 3-part journey to transform your mind and unleash your potential. Conceive the vision of what you really want. Believe that it's possible, because here we eliminate doubt. And then achieve, because it's time you actually live that dream. These principles simply work. This isn't just a program, it's your future, with a whole community backing you up. You are not alone. Certified coaches, video modules, live calls, success tools, accountability. Everything you need to stay on track and never look back. Ask yourself, can you afford to wait? Don't drift through life. Step up, take charge, and join the movement. The Napoleon Hill Institute. It's a frequency.